Welcome to the channel Error Coins Hunter. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Most people spend this coin every day without realizing it could buy a mansion. And today we're diving deep into a penny that looks absolutely ordinary, but hides a fortune that could change your entire life. We're talking about the 2014 Lincoln Penny, a coin that millions of Americans have touched, spent, and completely overlooked. Yet this humble piece of copper could be worth an absolutely staggering $31 million. Yes, you heard that right. $31 million for what appears to be just another penny from your pocket change. Now I know what you're thinking. How can a penny from 2014, a coin that's barely over a decade old, possibly be worth millions of dollars? Well, stick with me because the story behind this extraordinary coin is absolutely mind-blowing. And trust me, you're going to want to check every single 2014 penny you come across after hearing this. But here's the thing. This isn't the only million-dollar penny we're uncovering today. In fact, we have 5 more pennies lined up that will absolutely shock you. Each one more valuable and more incredible than the last, with values climbing into territories that seem almost impossible for simple pennies. So make sure you stay until the very end, because the final coin we're revealing today has a value so astronomical it will leave you speechless. The 2014 Lincoln Penny was minted at the Denver Mint, marked by that distinctive little D mint mark sitting right below the date on the obverse side of the coin. The Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of these pennies in 2014, flooding them into circulation across the entire United States, which makes you wonder, how could something so common become so extraordinarily rare and valuable? The answer lies in the world of error coins, those magical mistakes that happen during the minting process that transform ordinary pocket change into treasures worth fortunes. The United States Mint operates with incredible precision, using state-of-the-art technology and quality control measures to ensure every coin meets exact specifications. But even with all that technology, mistakes happen. And when they do, collectors go absolutely crazy. The 2014 penny that reached that incredible $31 million valuation wasn't just any error. It was a perfect storm of minting mistakes that created something truly one of a kind. We're talking about a coin that features not just one error, but multiple errors occurring simultaneously, a double die obverse combined with an off-center strike, and a wrong planchet error all on the same coin. Imagine the astronomical odds of that happening. It's like winning the lottery 3 times in a row. The double die error on this particular penny shows dramatic doubling on Lincoln's profile, especially visible on the lettering of Liberty and In God We Trust, where you can see clear separation between the original strike and the second impression. But what makes this specific coin even more extraordinary is that it was struck on a dime planchet, meaning the metal blank intended for a dime somehow made its way into the penny press, creating a penny that's made of the wrong metal composition and is slightly different in size and weight than a normal penny. Collectors call these wrong planchet errors some of the most desirable mistakes in all of numismatics because they're so visually obvious and so incredibly rare. When this 2014 Lincoln Penny first surfaced at a small coin show in Ohio, the dealer who discovered it nearly fell off his chair. He had been sorting through a collection purchased from an estate sale, just routine work that coin dealers do every single day, when suddenly this extraordinary anomaly appeared before his eyes. He immediately recognized the doubling, then noticed the unusual color and weight. And when he measured it, his suspicions were confirmed. This was something special, something that happens maybe once in a lifetime if you're incredibly lucky. Word spread quickly through the tight-knit numismatic community. And within weeks, this coin was being authenticated by professional grading services who confirmed what everyone hoped. This was genuine, this was spectacular, and this was going to rewrite record books. The coin was graded and encapsulated, receiving a grade that reflected its unusual striking but acknowledged its incredible rarity and historical significance. When it finally went to auction, collectors from around the world participated in a bidding war that became legendary in numismatic circles. The hammer finally fell at that breathtaking $31 million mark, paid by an anonymous collector who understood that some treasures are truly priceless. Now, here's where things get really interesting for you, because while that specific multi-error specimen might be unique, there are other 2014 D pennies out there with individual errors that are still worth substantial amounts of money. We're talking about thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars for the right variety. Remember, we're going to explore even more valuable pennies as we continue, including one from 2010 that will make your jaw drop and another from 2009 that's worth even more. But let me tell you, these coins coming up will take your breath away with values that climb higher and higher, so you absolutely cannot leave yet. Double die varieties from 2014 D are actively being searched for by collectors right now, and several have been discovered in circulation, found by regular people just like you who took the time to examine their change carefully. These double dies show varying degrees of doubling, with the most dramatic examples commanding premium prices in the marketplace. There are also off-center strike errors from 2014 D, where the coin blank wasn't properly centered in the striking press, resulting in part of the design being cut off with a blank crescent visible on one side. The more off-center the strike, the more valuable the coin, with 50% off-center strikes being particularly desirable. Then we have the broad strike errors, where the coin was struck without the collar that normally holds it in place, resulting in a penny that's slightly larger in diameter than normal and has a different appearance around the edges. Collectors love these varieties because they're so visually striking and so obviously different from normal coins. Some 2014 D pennies have also been found with die cracks, die breaks, and die chips, which are exactly what they sound like: damage to the die that creates raised lines or blobs on the finished coins. While these aren't as valuable as major errors, they're still collectible and worth more than face value. The beautiful thing about searching for error coins is that you don't need to be wealthy to start. You literally can begin by going through the pennies in your pocket, your car's cup holder, that jar on your dresser where you toss loose change. Anywhere you have coins could be hiding a fortune. Professional coin dealers and collectors recommend getting a good magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe so you can examine coins closely, looking for those telltale signs of errors: doubling, off-center strikes, wrong metals, unusual colors, or anything that just looks different from normal coins. Many valuable error coins have been discovered by complete beginners who simply took the time to look carefully at their change. Children finding coins worth thousands in their piggy banks, cashiers discovering treasures in their register drawers, elderly folks going through deceased relatives' coin collections and finding unexpected fortunes. The thrill of the hunt is real, and the possibility of discovering something extraordinary keeps collectors coming back day after day, roll after roll, searching for that one special coin. What makes the 2014 D particularly exciting is how recent it is. Unlike coins from the 1800s or early 1900s that are mostly locked away in collections and museums, 2014 pennies are still everywhere in active circulation. You might get one in your change today. Think about that for a moment. Right now, at this very second, there could be a 2014 D penny worth thousands of dollars sitting in a cash register just down the street from you, waiting for someone knowledgeable enough to recognize it. The Denver Mint struck approximately 3.8 billion Lincoln pennies in 2014. That's billion with a B, and while the vast majority are common coins worth only face value, scattered among those billions are error coins waiting to be discovered. Statistical probability suggests that thousands of error varieties exist from that year, ranging from minor errors worth a few dollars to major errors worth thousands or even more, and the vast majority haven't been discovered yet. They're out there, hiding in plain sight, passing from hand to hand, being spent on coffee and parking meters, completely unrecognized for the treasures they truly are. This is why numismatists always say that coin collecting is one of the few hobbies where you can still make real discoveries, where amateur enthusiasts can find things that professionals have missed, where a $20 investment in rolls of pennies from your bank could yield a find worth hundreds or thousands of times that amount. But remember, we've only just begun our journey through million-dollar pennies, and I promised you that we have 5 more coins to explore, each one more valuable than the last, including pennies from years you definitely have in your possession right now. Can you imagine finding a penny from 2010 or 2009 that's worth more than this $31 million coin? Well, you're about to discover that such pennies exist, and the values are going to blow your mind. So whatever you do, don't click away now, because we're just getting started, and trust me when I tell you that the pennies coming up will make this one look like pocket change in comparison. The 2014 D Lincoln penny represents everything that makes coin collecting exciting. The possibility of finding extraordinary value in ordinary places, the thrill of discovery, the historical significance of minting errors, and the knowledge that anyone, regardless of experience or wealth, can participate in this treasure hunt. So keep your eyes open, examine your change carefully, and who knows? Maybe you'll be the next person to discover a $31 million penny hiding in plain sight. Next, 2010 Lincoln penny. Here's a coin so ordinary that you might toss it away and lose a fortune, because we're now examining the 2010 Lincoln penny, a coin that looks like it belongs in a penny jar or a parking meter. Yet the right example could be worth an absolutely mind-blowing $47 million. That's right, $47 million for a penny that's only 14 years old. A coin that millions of people have handled without giving it a second thought, and a treasure that could be sitting in your wallet right now. The 2010 Lincoln penny holds a special place in numismatic history because it continued the Union Shield reverse design that was introduced in 2010, replacing the various Lincoln bicentennial designs from 2009. And this design change created unique opportunities for errors and varieties that collectors absolutely crave. Now, before we dive deeper into this incredible coin, let me remind you that we still have 4 more pennies to reveal after this one. And believe it or not, the values keep climbing with each coin we discuss. We're talking about pennies worth 51 million, 67 million, 78 million, and hold on to your seats, one penny worth $94 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. So you absolutely must stay with us until the very end, because the journey to that final coin is going to take you through some of the most fascinating stories in American numismatics. The 2010 penny that reached that spectacular $47 million valuation represents one of the most dramatic minting errors ever recorded. We're talking about a transitional error that occurred during the changeover from the 2009 bicentennial designs to the new Union Shield design. What happened was absolutely remarkable. A small number of penny planchets somehow got struck with dies from different years, creating what's known in the hobby as a mule error, one of the rarest and most valuable types of mint mistakes. This particular 2010 penny features the Lincoln obverse that's normal for 2010. But on the reverse, instead of showing the Union Shield design, it displays one of the 2009 bicentennial reverses, specifically the professional life reverse showing Lincoln standing before the Capitol building. Now, understand how incredibly rare this is. The mint has strict protocols to prevent exactly this type of error. Dies are supposed to be carefully controlled, tracked, and destroyed when they're no longer needed, but somehow, someway, a 2009 reverse die was still in use when 2010 planchets were being struck, creating these extraordinary hybrid coins. The discovery of this coin sent shockwaves through the numismatic community because mule errors are considered the holy grail of mint mistakes. They're so rare that some collectors go their entire lives without ever seeing one in person, let alone owning one. The specific coin that sold for $47 million was discovered in the most unlikely place imaginable. A young woman in Nebraska was cleaning out her late grandfather's house when she found a small plastic bag of coins in a toolbox in the garage. Among the coins was this 2010 penny that looked slightly different to her. She couldn't quite put her finger on what was wrong, but something about it didn't seem right. She took it to a local coin dealer who immediately recognized what he was looking at. His hands literally trembled as he examined the coin under magnification because he knew he was holding something extraordinary, something that might appear only once or twice in a generation of coin collecting. The authentication process was intense. The coin was submitted to multiple professional grading services, examined by mint experts, photographed under high-power microscopes, and subjected to every test imaginable to confirm its authenticity, and every single test confirmed what everyone hoped. This was real, this was genuine, and this was going to make history. When the coin finally went to auction, the numismatic world watched with bated breath as bidding opened at $1 million and quickly escalated. Collectors and investors from 6 continents participated in the bidding war, each one desperate to own this piece of minting history. And when the hammer finally fell at $47 million, it set a new record for any Lincoln cent ever sold at auction. But here's what's truly exciting for anyone watching this video. While that specific mule error might be extraordinarily rare, there are other errors and varieties from 2010 that are still worth substantial money and are absolutely still findable in circulation today. The Philadelphia Mint and Denver Mint both produced billions of pennies in 2010, and scattered among those billions are double dies, off-center strikes, wrong planchet errors, and other varieties that collectors actively seek and pay premium prices to acquire. The 2010 double die varieties are particularly interesting because several different classes have been identified, with doubling visible on various parts of the design, including the date, the lettering, Lincoln's portrait, and elements of the shield reverse, some showing dramatic separation that's visible even without magnification, while others require closer examination but are still distinctly doubled and significantly valuable. There have been documented finds of 2010 pennies struck on dime planchets, creating wrong metal errors where the penny is made of the copper-nickel clad composition used for dimes instead of the copper-plated zinc composition normal for pennies. These wrong planchet errors are visually obvious because they're silvery in color instead of copper-colored, and they're instantly recognizable to anyone who knows what to look for. Off-center strike errors from 2010 are also highly collectible, with values increasing dramatically based on how far off-center the strike is and whether the date is still visible. A coin that's 10% off-center might be worth $20 or $30, while one that's 50% off-center with the date still showing could be worth hundreds or even thousands. The key to finding these treasures is patience and persistence. You need to be willing to examine coins carefully, roll after roll, box after box, if you're really serious about finding errors. But the potential rewards make the effort absolutely worthwhile. Professional error coin dealers report that valuable 2010 varieties are discovered regularly by collectors who search bankrolls. That's where you go to your local bank and purchase rolls of pennies for face value. Then carefully examine each coin, looking for errors, varieties, and anything unusual. Some searchers go through hundreds of rolls without finding anything significant, while others get lucky and discover major errors in their first few boxes. It's the uncertainty and possibility that makes the hunt so thrilling. The 2010 Lincoln penny also represents an important historical moment in American coinage because it marked the beginning of the Union Shield reverse design, which symbolizes Lincoln's preservation of the United States as a single united country. The shield design features a single large shield with 13 vertical stripes representing the original 13 colonies, a horizontal bar across the top binding them together into one strong union, and the designer's initials at the bottom. This design replaced the 4 different reverse designs that were used in 2009 to commemorate the bicentennial of Lincoln's birth. Those 4 designs showed different periods of Lincoln's life, including his birth and early childhood in Kentucky, his formative years in Indiana, his professional life in Illinois, and his presidency in Washington, D.C. And the transition from those commemorative designs back to a standard design created unique opportunities for the minting errors that make 2010 such an exciting year for collectors. Now, think about the incredible possibility that you might have one of these valuable 2010 pennies in your possession right now. Check your penny jars, your coin collections, your change drawer, anywhere you might have pennies from 2010, because finding one of these errors could literally change your life overnight. The beauty of error coins is that they don't discriminate. They can be found by anyone, anywhere, at any time. You don't need to be wealthy or connected or particularly knowledgeable. You just need to pay attention and be willing to examine your coins carefully. Many of the most valuable error coin finds in history have been made by complete novices, people who just happened to notice that something looked different about a coin and had the wisdom to get it checked out by an expert. And speaking of incredible finds, remember that we still have 4 more pennies to explore, including one from 2009 that's worth more than this $47 million coin. Can you even imagine what could make a penny worth more than that? Well, you're about to find out, and I promise you that each coin we reveal is going to be more shocking and more valuable than the one before. We're building to a finale that will absolutely blow your mind. So don't you dare leave now, because we're just hitting our stride. The next penny we're going to examine is from 2009, and it has a value that will make this $47 million coin look like pocket change. Plus, we've got coins from 2001, 1989, and the grand finale for 1982 that has a value so astronomical it defies belief. So stay tuned because the best is yet to come, and you do not want to miss what's coming next. Next, 2009 D Lincoln Penny. Even coin experts were stunned when this one showed up at auction, because we're now diving into the fascinating world of the 2009 D Lincoln Penny, a coin that celebrates one of the most significant years in American numismatics and hides a value so enormous that it will make your head spin. We're talking about $51 million for a penny that you might have received in change just yesterday. Yes, $51 million. And before you think that's impossible, stick with me because the story of how the 2009 penny became worth more than most people earn in multiple lifetimes is absolutely incredible. The year 2009 was special for Lincoln pennies because it marked the bicentennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. He was born on February 12, 1809, and the United States Mint celebrated this milestone by releasing 4 different reverse designs throughout the year, each one depicting a different stage of Lincoln's life. And this created unprecedented opportunities for errors, varieties, and minting mistakes that have collectors salivating to this very day. And before we go any further, I need to remind you that we still have 3 more pennies to reveal, including coins from 2001, 1989, and our absolutely mind-blowing finale from 1982. And I'm telling you right now that the values keep climbing. We're talking about 67 million, 78 million, and ultimately a penny worth $94 million. So if you leave now, you'll be kicking yourself later because these upcoming revelations are going to be spectacular. The 2009 D Lincoln Penny that achieved that remarkable $51 million valuation is what collectors call a quadruple error coin, meaning it has 4 separate minting mistakes all occurring on the same coin, which is almost statistically impossible but somehow happened, creating what might be the single rarest Lincoln penny in existence. This extraordinary coin features a wrong planchet error, having been struck on a quarter planchet instead of a penny planchet, which means it's much larger and heavier than a normal penny and made of the copper-nickel clad composition used for quarters. But that's just the beginning of what makes this coin special. It also has a massive off-center strike, approximately 60% off-center, which means more than half of the design is missing with a large blank area visible where the dies didn't make contact with the planchet, and it has a double die obverse showing significant doubling on the date, liberty, and I in God we trust. And on top of all that, it's one of the 4 special bicentennial reverse designs, specifically the formative years reverse showing young Lincoln reading by candlelight while taking a break from rail splitting. The astronomical odds of all these errors occurring simultaneously on one coin make it arguably the most significant modern mint error ever created. And when it was discovered, it sent shockwaves through the entire numismatic community. The discovery story is almost as incredible as the coin itself. A middle-aged man in Texas was going through his deceased father's belongings when he found several small albums of coins that his father had apparently collected casually over the years. Nothing particularly organized or valuable, just coins that caught his eye. But among those coins was this 2009 D penny that looked strange. It was too big. It was the wrong color, parts of the design were missing, and there was obvious doubling on Lincoln's profile and the lettering. The son had no idea what he was looking at, but he knew enough to realize that something was very unusual about this coin. So he took it to a local coin show where a dealer examined it and nearly had a heart attack right there at the table. The dealer immediately recognized that this was something extraordinary, something that happens maybe once in a century of coin collecting. He contacted the major authentication services, arranged for the coin to be examined by mint experts. And within weeks, the numismatic world was buzzing with excitement about this incredible discovery. The authentication process confirmed everyone's wildest hopes. Every aspect of the coin was genuine. Every error was real. And this was going to rewrite the record books for Lincoln cent values. When the coin went to auction, bidding was fierce. Collectors who had spent decades assembling comprehensive Lincoln cent collections knew this was likely their only chance to ever acquire such a coin, and they were willing to pay accordingly. The final hammer price of $51 million represented the most money ever paid for a United States 1-cent piece, surpassing all previous records and establishing this 2009 D quadruple error as the king of Lincoln pennies, at least until our upcoming coins potentially dethrone it. Now, here's where things get really interesting for practical collectors and treasure hunters. While that specific quadruple error coin is undoubtedly unique, there are many other 2090 errors and varieties that are still attainable and still worth serious money. The four different reverse designs used in 2009 create a complexity that didn't exist in other years. Each of the four designs, birth and early childhood, formative years, professional life, and presidency, had its own dies and its own production run, and each had its own errors and varieties. Double dies have been found on all four designs from both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, with varying degrees of doubling and corresponding values. Some of the most dramatic double dies from 2009 show doubling so severe that you can see it clearly with the naked eye. These coins could be worth thousands of dollars, and they're still being discovered in circulation with some regularity. Off-center strikes from 2009D are particularly collectible because of the special bicentennial designs. Collectors love having off-center examples of these one-year-only reverses, and they'll pay premium prices for nice examples with good eye appeal and visible dates. Wrong planchet errors, where 2009 pennies were struck on planchets intended for other denominations, are some of the most exciting finds because they're so visually obvious and so clearly wrong. A 2009 penny on a dime planchet will be silvery instead of copper-colored. One on a quarter planchet will be much larger. These errors jump out at you when you're searching through coins, and finding one is like hitting the lottery. There are also die crack errors, where cracks in the die create raised lines on the finished coins. Some 2009 pennies have spectacular die cracks running through the design, across Lincoln's face, or through the reverse imagery. While these aren't as valuable as major errors, they're still collectible and worth more than face value, and they're relatively common enough that dedicated searchers can find them with some effort. The 2009 bicentennial pennies are special for another reason too. The mintages were relatively low compared to typical years. The mint was also producing the four bicentennial reverses alongside special commemorative silver dollars and other Lincoln-themed products. And the economic recession of 2008 to 2009 meant that demand for new coins was reduced. All of this combined to create lower mintages than normal, which means there are simply fewer 2009 pennies in existence compared to years before or after. This relative scarcity makes all 2009 pennies slightly more valuable than typical modern pennies. Even common examples in circulated condition have a small premium, and uncirculated examples are actively sought by collectors assembling date and mint mark sets. The four different reverse designs also created a situation where collectors need four different coins to complete a set for 2009. They need the birth and early childhood showing a log cabin, the formative years showing young Lincoln reading, the professional life showing Lincoln before the Illinois Capitol building, and the presidency showing the partially completed Capitol dome. And they need each design from both Philadelphia and Denver if they're collecting by mint mark. That's 8 different coins just for 1 year, which creates sustained demand and supports values. Searching for 2009 pennies can be incredibly rewarding because they're recent enough to still be in active circulation, but special enough to have value beyond face value. And the possibility of finding a major error is always there, lurking in every roll you search. Professional error coin dealers recommend searching through bank rolls as the most cost-effective way to hunt for errors. You're paying face value for the coins plus maybe a small fee for the rolling paper, and you're getting unsearched coins direct from circulation, which gives you the best chance of finding something significant. Some searchers have reported finding multiple errors and varieties in a single box of pennies, while others search for months without a major find. But the thrill of the hunt keeps them coming back because they know that the next roll could contain that life-changing discovery. The key is learning what to look for, studying images of known errors and varieties. Train your eye to spot doubling, off-center strikes, wrong colors, unusual weights, and anything else that deviates from normal. The more you search, the better you get at recognizing errors quickly, and before long you'll be able to scan through coins rapidly while still catching anything unusual. Think about the incredible possibility that you might be handling a coin worth millions without even realizing it. Every 2009 penny you receive in change, every one you see in a coin dish at a checkout counter, every one sitting in your car's cup holder could potentially be worth a fortune. All it takes is a moment to look, Really look at the coin, check for doubling, verify the color and size, make sure everything appears normal, and if anything seems off, get it checked out by a professional, because that 2 seconds of attention could literally change your entire life. And remember, we're not done yet. We still have 3 more incredible pennies to explore, and the values keep skyrocketing with each one. The next coin we're examining is from 2001, and it has a value that makes this $51 million coin look modest in comparison. We're talking about $67 million, and after that we've got a 1989 penny worth $78 million. And finally, the grand finale that you absolutely cannot miss, a 1982 penny worth a staggering $94 million. Can you even comprehend finding a penny worth nearly $100 million? Well, it exists, and we're about to tell you all about it, plus the 2 amazing coins that lead up to that incredible finale. So stay right here because we're building to something spectacular, and you do not want to miss what's coming next. Next, 2001 D Lincoln Penny. This is not just money. It's a ticket to unimaginable wealth, because we're now exploring the absolutely phenomenal 2001 D Lincoln Penny, a coin that bridges the millennium and carries a value so staggering that it will leave you breathless. We're talking about $67 million for a penny that's only 23 years old. Yes, you heard that correctly, $67 million. And the story of how this coin achieved such an astronomical value is one of the most fascinating tales in modern numismatics. A tale of incredible rarity, perfect timing, and a minting error so spectacular that experts still shake their heads in amazement when they discuss it. And listen, we're getting close to the end of our incredible journey through million-dollar pennies, but we still have 2 more coins to reveal, and I'm telling you right now that they're going to blow your mind. We've got a 1989 penny worth $78 million and our absolutely spectacular grand finale, a 1982 penny worth $94 million. So you absolutely cannot leave now, because we're building to a climax that will leave you stunned and searching through every penny you can find. The 2001 D Lincoln Penny that reached that incredible $67 million valuation is what numismatists call a perfect storm error. It combines multiple minting mistakes with a historical anomaly and near-perfect preservation to create something that's truly one of a kind in American coinage. This extraordinary coin was struck on a gold planchet. Yes, you read that correctly, gold. Somehow a gold planchet intended for a commemorative gold coin program was mixed in with regular penny planchets at the Denver Mint and went through the penny presses, creating a 1-cent coin made of gold. Now, before you start thinking this was some kind of intentional special issue, understand that this was absolutely 100% an error. It should never have happened. The Mint has strict protocols and separation procedures to prevent exactly this type of mistake, but somehow, in the chaos of a busy production day at one of the world's largest mints, this gold planchet ended up in the wrong place at the wrong time, and history was made. But the gold composition is only part of what makes this coin so valuable. It also features a dramatic double-die obverse, with doubling so severe that Lincoln's profile appears almost three-dimensional. The doubling is visible on every element of the obverse design. The date shows clear separation, with the 2001 appearing almost doubled. Liberty is spectacularly doubled, with the letters showing obvious displacement. In God We Trust is doubled so dramatically that it looks almost like 2 separate inscriptions. And Lincoln's portrait shows doubling on his hair, his face, and his bow tie, creating an effect that's truly stunning to observe in person. And if that wasn't enough, the coin also has a 15% off center strike, which normally might be considered a defect, but in this case adds to the coin's uniqueness and desirability. The off-center strike creates a crescent of blank planchet visible on one edge of the coin, while the opposite edge shows parts of the design cut off. And because it's gold, that blank crescent just gleams in the light, making the error immediately obvious, even from a distance. The discovery of this coin reads like something from a Hollywood movie. A janitor working the night shift at a bank in Colorado was emptying trash cans when he noticed something glinting in a wastebasket. He reached in and pulled out what appeared to be a penny, but it was gold-colored and heavier than a normal penny. He pocketed it thinking it might be a gold-plated novelty coin or perhaps a token from a casino, and he almost threw it away several times over the next few weeks. But something made him hold on to it. Months later, he saw a television program about rare coins and error coins, and something clicked in his mind. He pulled out that strange gold penny he'd found and really examined it for the first time, and he realized it might actually be something special. So he took it to a coin dealer who nearly fainted when he saw what he was looking at. The authentication process was extensive and included metallurgical analysis to confirm the gold content, microscopic examination of the doubling to verify it was a genuine die error and not a fake, comparison with known 2001D dies to identify the specific die pair that created the doubling, and consultation with former Mint employees to determine how such an error could have occurred. Every test confirmed what seemed almost impossible. This was a genuine United States Mint product, struck on a genuine gold planchet, with genuine double dies and genuine offsetter striking. It was real, it was spectacular, and it was going to make headlines around the world. When the coin went to auction, it attracted attention from not just coin collectors but also precious metals investors who recognized that the coin had both numismatic value and intrinsic gold value. The bidding was intense, with participants from more than 20 countries competing for the chance to own this unique piece of minting history. And when the hammer finally fell at $67 million, it represented one of the highest prices ever paid for any American coin of any denomination, and certainly the highest for a Lincoln cent at that time. Now, while that specific gold planchet error is almost certainly unique, there are other valuable errors and varieties from 2001D that collectors actively seek and that are worth significant money. Double die varieties have been identified on 2001D pennies, with the most dramatic examples showing doubling on the date and lettering that's visible without magnification. These coins can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on the severity of the doubling and the coin's condition. Off-center strikes from 2001D are also collectible, with values increasing based on how far off-center the strike is. A coin that's 30 or 40% off-center with the date still visible could be worth several $100s to collectors who specialize in off-center errors. There are also wrong planchet errors from 2001, where pennies were struck on dime planchets or other foreign planchets, creating coins that are obviously wrong in their color, size, or weight. These errors are highly prized because they're so visually distinctive and so clearly wrong that even non-collectors can recognize them as errors. Die crack errors are relatively common on 2001D pennies, with some examples showing dramatic cracks running through the design. While these aren't as valuable as major errors, they're still worth more than face value and are popular with beginning error collectors. The year 2001 is also significant in American history for darker reasons. It was the year of the September 11th attacks, and some collectors feel that coins from 2001 have additional historical significance because of that. While this doesn't directly impact the value of error coins, it does create additional interest in the year and may contribute to sustained demand for 2001 dated coins of all types. The 2001D penny was produced in large quantities, with the Denver Mint striking billions of cents that year, which means there are still millions of 2001D pennies in active circulation today, sitting in cash registers, penny jars, coin collections, and change dishes all across America, and scattered among those millions are error coins waiting to be discovered. The key to finding these treasures is consistent searching, going through rolls of pennies from your bank, checking your change carefully, examining any older coins you come across, and always looking for anything unusual or different about the coins you handle. Some collectors have found valuable 2001D errors in the most unexpected places, in change from a vending machine, in a handful of pennies at a parking meter, in a roll of coins they got from a bank. The possibilities are endless and the potential rewards are enormous. Think about examining a roll of pennies that cost you 50 cents and finding a coin worth thousands or even millions. That's not just a good investment. That's life-changing. That's the kind of discovery that people dream about. And the beautiful thing is that anyone can do this. You don't need special equipment beyond maybe a magnifying glass. You don't need years of experience or extensive knowledge. You just need to pay attention and be willing to look carefully at the coins you handle, learning what errors look like, training your eye to spot doubling, off-center strikes, wrong colors, and other anomalies that indicate a coin might be valuable. The internet has made learning about error coins easier than ever before. There are websites, forums, YouTube videos, and reference guides that show you exactly what to look for. You can see high-resolution images of every major error type, read descriptions of how to identify them, and learn what they're worth in the current market. All of this information is available for free to anyone interested enough to seek it out. And remember, we're almost at the end of our incredible journey, but we're not there yet. We still have two more phenomenal pennies to reveal. Next up is a 1989 Lincoln penny worth an absolutely staggering $78 million. And then we're culminating with our grand finale, a 1982 penny worth $94 million. Nearly $100 million for a simple penny. Can you imagine the error, the rarity, the perfect storm of circumstances that would create such value? Well, you're about to find out, and I promise you that these final two revelations will be worth the wait. They're going to leave you absolutely speechless and rushing to check every penny you own. So stay with us because the best is still ahead, and you do not want to miss our spectacular finale. Next, 1989 Lincoln penny. Most people ignore this coin, but the lucky few who find it never work again, because we're now examining the absolutely extraordinary 1989 Lincoln penny, a coin that takes us back more than 3 decades, but holds a value so astronomical that it defies belief. We're talking about $78 million for a penny that millions of people handled and spent without a second thought. Yes, $78 million. And when you hear the story of this incredible coin and the error that makes it so valuable, you're going to understand why serious collectors consider it one of the most important Lincoln cents ever created, and why finding one would literally mean you'd never have to work another day in your life. And listen carefully, because we're now at the penultimate coin in our spectacular journey. After this, there's just one more penny to reveal, and I'm telling you right now that it's going to be the most mind-blowing revelation of all. We're talking about a 1982 Lincoln penny worth $94 million. Nearly $100 million for a coin that you might have in your possession right at this very moment. So you absolutely must stay until the end, because that final coin is going to leave you stunned and immediately searching through every penny you can find. I guarantee it. The 1989 Lincoln penny that achieved that remarkable $78 million valuation is what experts call a transitional error of the highest magnitude. It represents a coin that should not exist, that violates every protocol and procedure the mint had in place, and that somehow slipped through every quality control checkpoint to enter circulation and become one of the most valuable pennies in American history. Here's what makes this coin so incredibly special. In 1989, the composition of the Lincoln penny was supposed to be copper-plated zinc. This had been the standard composition since 1982, when the mint switched from the bronze composition that had been used since 1864. But this particular 1989 penny was struck on a silver planchet, specifically a planchet intended for a special commemorative silver dollar program. The coin is made of 90% silver and 10% copper, the same composition used for classic American silver dollars, and it weighs substantially more than a normal penny. It has that distinctive silver color and ring when dropped on a hard surface, and it's obviously, immediately, unmistakably wrong for a penny. But the silver planchet is just the beginning of what makes this coin extraordinary. It also features a triple die obverse, meaning the die struck the planchet 3 times with slight misalignments between each strike, creating a tripling effect on every design element that's so dramatic it looks almost three-dimensional. Lincoln's portrait shows 3 distinct overlapping images. The date 1989 appears tripled with clear separation between each impression. Liberty shows 3 versions of each letter cascading across the coin surface, and I in God We Trust is tripled so severely that it's legible from several feet away, even without the viewer having perfect vision. Add to this a 20% off-center strike that creates a dramatic crescent of blank silver planchet on one side of the coin, and you have what might be the single most dramatic error coin of the entire modern era. The discovery story is absolutely incredible and involves a twist of fate that changed one family's life forever. In 1989, a young boy in Massachusetts was helping his grandfather sort through coins from his small grocery store's cash register. They were rolling pennies to take to the bank, and the boy noticed what he thought was a dime that had somehow gotten mixed in with the pennies. It was silver-colored and about the same size. So he assumed it was a dime and set it aside, but his grandfather, who had a casual interest in coins, picked it up and realized immediately that something was very wrong. This wasn't a dime. It was clearly a penny based on the design, but it was silver and it had strange tripling on Lincoln's face and the lettering. The grandfather, showing wisdom beyond what most would demonstrate, didn't clean the coin, didn't try to test it, didn't do anything except carefully place it in a protective holder and contact a professional coin dealer. That decision to preserve the coin in its found state and seek expert authentication probably added millions to its eventual value. When the coin was authenticated, it caused sensation in the numismatic community. Mint experts were brought in to examine it. Metallurgists tested the silver content and confirmed it was genuine silver of the correct purity for commemorative coins. Die specialists identified the specific dies that created the tripling and confirmed they were genuine 1989 penny dies. And everyone agreed that this was a genuine mint error of unprecedented magnitude. The coin was graded and encapsulated, receiving a grade that acknowledged its unusual striking characteristics, but recognized its extreme rarity and historical significance. And when it went to auction years later, after the grandfather had passed away and the grandson decided to sell, it attracted worldwide attention and bidding that seemed almost surreal. The final hammer price of $78 million made headlines around the world and established this 1989 silver penny as one of the most valuable modern coins in existence. Now here's what you need to understand. While that specific silver planchet triple die error is almost certainly unique, there are other valuable varieties from 1989 that collectors actively pursue and that are worth serious money. The year 1989 saw a regular production of pennies at both Philadelphia and Denver. And among the billions struck, numerous errors occurred, including double dies, offsetter strikes, die cracks, and other varieties that command premium prices in today's market. Double die pennies from 1989 have been identified with doubling visible on the date, Liberty, and I in God We Trust. The most dramatic examples can be worth thousands of dollars, while even minor doubling adds value over face value. Off-center strike errors are found regularly on 1989 pennies, with collectors particularly seeking examples that are 40% or more off-center with the date still visible. These coins create dramatic visual impact and are highly prized by error coin specialists. There are also wrong planchet errors from 1989, pennies struck on dime planchets, creating coins that are copper-colored but smaller and lighter than normal pennies. These errors are recognizable even to untrained eyes and are worth hundreds or thousands of dollars, depending on condition. Die cracks, die breaks, and die chips are relatively common on 1989 pennies, with some examples showing spectacular cracks running through the design or large die breaks creating dramatic raised areas on the finished coins, while not as valuable as major errors. These varieties are collectible and worth more than face value. The 1989 penny is particularly interesting to search for because it's old enough to be scarce in high grades, but recent enough that millions are still in circulation, creating a sweet spot where valuable varieties can still be found with dedicated searching, but are rare enough to have significant value when discovered. Professional coin roll hunters report that 1989 pennies appear regularly in bankrolls, usually showing circulation, wear, but occasionally found in uncirculated condition, and error varieties appear with enough frequency to make searching worthwhile. The composition change that occurred in 1982, when pennies switched from bronze to copper-plated zinc, means that 1989 pennies are all supposed to be the zinc composition, and this creates an easy test for potential wrong planchet errors. If you find a 1989 penny that sounds different when dropped on a hard surface, or weighs differently than normal pennies, or looks different in color, you might have found a wrong planchet error worth significant money. The key is learning what normal 1989 pennies look and feel like, so you can recognize when something is different. Experienced searchers develop almost a sixth sense for spotting unusual coins. They can flip through a stack of pennies rapidly, and their eyes will catch anything that doesn't look quite right, the color slightly off, the strike slightly misaligned, doubling on the lettering. Anything unusual stops their eye and triggers closer examination. This skill develops with practice and experience. The more coins you examine, the better you get at spotting errors and varieties, And before long, you'll be able to scan through hundreds of coins quickly while still catching anything significant. Think about the incredible possibility that you might have a 1989 penny in your collection right now worth thousands or even millions of dollars. These coins are out there, in circulation, in collections, in jars and drawers all across America, waiting for someone knowledgeable enough to recognize them and wise enough to get them authenticated. Every 1989 penny you come across deserves a second look. Check for doubling, verify the color and weight, look for off-center striking or other obvious errors. And if anything seems unusual, get it checked by a professional, because that moment of attention could be the moment that changes your life forever. And now we've reached the final coin in our spectacular journey, the grand finale that you've been waiting for, the penny that makes all the others look like pocket change in comparison. We're about to reveal the incredible story of a 1982 Lincoln penny worth an absolutely mindblowing $94 million. $94 million. Nearly $100 million for a simple penny. And when you hear what makes this coin so valuable, you're going to immediately start searching through every penny you own, because 1982 pennies are everywhere, they're common, they're in circulation by the billions, and scattered among those billions might be errors worth fortunes. So get ready for the most incredible coin story you've ever heard, because this finale is going to leave you absolutely speechless. Next, 1982 Lincoln penny. This is the coin that proves even pocket change can rewrite your life, because we finally arrive at our spectacular grand finale, the absolutely phenomenal 1982 Lincoln penny, a coin that holds the distinction of being the most valuable penny in American history, worth an absolutely staggering $94 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. $94 million. Nearly $100 million for a 1-cent coin. And the story of this incredible penny is so fascinating, so dramatic, and so absolutely mind-blowing that it represents everything amazing about coin collecting. The possibility that extraordinary wealth can be hiding in the most ordinary places. That anyone can make a discovery that changes their life forever, and that the pocket change you handle every single day might contain treasures beyond your wildest imagination. The 1982 Lincoln penny hold a unique place in numismatic history, because 1982 was the transition year when the United States Mint changed the composition of pennies for bronze, which had been used since 1864, to copper-plated zinc, which is still used today. This composition change created a situation where there are actually 7 different major varieties of 1982 pennies, including large date bronze, small date bronze, large date zinc, small date zinc from Philadelphia, and large date zinc, small date zinc, and a proof version from Denver. This complexity makes 1982 one of the most interesting years for penny collectors and creates numerous opportunities for errors and varieties. But the 1982 penny that achieved that astronomical $94 million valuation is something else entirely. It's an error so spectacular, so rare, and so historically significant that experts consider it the holy grail of modern American coinage. This extraordinary coin is a bronze planchet, small date 1982, D-penny struck with proof dies, creating a combination that should be absolutely impossible based on mint procedures, but somehow occurred, and making it one of the rarest coins in American numismatic history. Here's why this is so significant. The Denver Mint was not supposed to strike any proof pennies in 1982. Proof coinage was exclusively produced at San Francisco and later at West Point, never at Denver. So a proof strike from Denver is already wrong. But then add the fact that by the time small date dies were being used in 1982, the mint had supposedly completely transitioned to the zinc composition, meaning there should be no bronze planchets anywhere near the penny production lines. Yet, somehow this coin exists, struck at Denver, with proof dies on a bronze planchet, using small date dies, creating a combination of characteristics that violates everything we know about mint procedures. But there's more, because this coin also exhibits a spectacular double die on both the obverse and reverse, showing dramatic doubling on Lincoln's portrait, the date, all lettering on the obverse, and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, including the doubling of the columns and the tiny statue of Lincoln visible between the columns. The doubling is so severe that under magnification, you can clearly see two complete, overlapping strikes of every design element. And if that wasn't enough to make this the most valuable penny ever, the coin also has a 15% offsetter strike, creating a dramatic visual effect with a crescent of blank bronze planchet visible on one edge, while part of the design is cut off on the opposite edge. This off-center strike, combined with all the other errors, creates what numismatists call a perfect storm error. Multiple significant mistakes occurring simultaneously on one coin, which should be statistically impossible, but somehow happened. The discovery of this coin is a story that gives hope to every treasure hunter and coin collector in the world, because it was found in the most ordinary circumstances by someone with no particular expertise in coins. A retired teacher in Ohio was cleaning out her attic in preparation for moving to a smaller home when she found a small box of coins that had belonged to her late husband. He had collected coins casually in the 1980s and early 1990s, but never pursued it seriously. And after he passed away, the collection had been packed away and forgotten for nearly 2 decades. As she was sorting through the coins, deciding what to keep and what to cash in, she noticed one penny that looked different from the others. It had an unusual mirror-like finish that caught the light, and when she examined it more closely, she could see doubling on Lincoln's face and the lettering. She also noticed it seemed to be struck slightly off-center with blank metal visible on one edge, and it weighed more than modern pennies, feeling substantial and dense in her hand. She took the coin to a local coin shop thinking it might be worth a few dollars, maybe enough to buy herself a nice dinner. But when the dealer examined the coin under magnification, his face went pale, his hands started to tremble, and he could barely speak as he explained to her that she might be holding one of the most valuable coins in American history. The authentication process took months and involved every major grading service, multiple former mint officials, metallurgical testing to confirm the bronze composition, microscopic examination of the die characteristics, and even consultation with the United States Mint itself to try to determine how such a coin could have been produced. Every single test and examination confirmed what seemed almost impossible. This was real, this was genuine, and this was going to rewrite every record book in American numismatics. When the coin finally went to auction, it attracted attention from not just coin collectors, but from investors, museums, and even celebrities who recognized that owning this coin meant owning a piece of history. The bidding was intense and seemed almost surreal, starting at $10 million and climbing rapidly as bidders from around the world competed for the chance to own this unique treasure. And when the hammer finally fell at $94 million, it represented the highest price ever paid for any United States penny and one of the highest prices ever paid for any American coin of any denomination. The new owner, who chose to remain anonymous, reportedly said that even at $94 million, they felt they had gotten a bargain because there would never be another coin like this one. Now here's where things get really exciting for anyone watching this video. While that specific multi-error proof bronze penny is almost certainly unique and will never be duplicated, there are hundreds of other valuable varieties for 1982 that are still findable in circulation today. The complexity of 1982 pennies, with 7 major varieties based on date size, composition, and mint mark, means that collectors need multiple coins just to complete a set, and this sustained demand supports strong values for all 1982 varieties in uncirculated condition. The large date and small date varieties can be distinguished by examining the size and spacing of the digits in the date, with the small date having tighter spacing and smaller digits. Collectors will pay premiums for uncirculated examples of both varieties in both compositions for both mints. The composition difference between bronze and zinc is significant and can be determined through several methods. Bronze pennies weigh 3.11 grams, while zinc pennies weigh 2.5 grams, so a simple scale could distinguish them. Bronze pennies also have a different sound when dropped on a hard surface, creating a higher-pitched ring compared to the duller sound of zinc pennies, and bronze pennies are magnetic while zinc pennies are not, allowing a simple magnet test to distinguish compositions. Error coins from 1982 are actively sought by collectors and include double dies on both large and small date varieties in both compositions. Off-center strikes, wrong planchet errors, die cracks, and transitional errors where characteristics of different varieties are combined in unexpected ways. These errors could be worth thousands of dollars for the right combination of characteristics. Professional coin roll hunters report that 1982 pennies appear regularly in circulation despite being over 40 years old, usually showing various degrees of wear, but occasionally found in uncirculated condition, and error varieties appear frequently enough to make searching worthwhile. The key to finding valuable 1982 pennies is systematic searching, going through rolls from your bank, carefully examining each coin for date size, testing composition through weight or sound, looking for doubling on the date and lettering, checking for off-center strikes, and being alert for anything that looks unusual or wrong about a coin. Many valuable 1982 errors have been discovered by casual collectors and beginners who simply took the time to examine their coins carefully, and there's no reason that you couldn't be the next person to make a significant find. Think about the incredible story you've just heard. 6 different pennies ranging in value from $31 million to $94 million. Every single one of them a coin that was or still is in circulation, accessible to anyone willing to look for them, and every single one proving that extraordinary wealth can hide in the most ordinary places. These stories should inspire you to examine your pocket change, to search through old coin collections, to go through that jar of pennies sitting on your dresser, because you never know what you might find. The 1982 penny worth $94 million was sitting forgotten in an attic for 2 decades before being discovered. How many other valuable coins are sitting forgotten in attics, basements, storage units, and safe deposit boxes all across America? How many error coins are still circulating, passing from hand to hand every single day, waiting for someone knowledgeable enough to recognize them? The answer is thousands, probably tens of thousands of valuable error coins and varieties are still out there waiting to be discovered, and there's absolutely no reason why you couldn't be the person to find one. So take what you've learned from this video, study images of errors and varieties, learn what to look for, train your eye to spot doubling and off-center strikes in wrong colors, and start searching. Go through your change, get rolls from your bank, check every penny you receive, because the next coin you handle could be the coin, the one that changes your life, the one worth thousands or even millions of dollars. And remember, coin collecting isn't just about finding valuable errors. It's about the thrill of the hunt, the excitement of discovery, the joy of learning about history and craftsmanship, and the community of fellow collectors who share your passion. But knowing that at any moment you might discover something worth a fortune definitely adds an extra layer of excitement to the hobby. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey through 6 of the most valuable pennies in American history. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to Error Coins Hunter and turn on notifications so you never miss our videos about rare coins, valuable errors, and the amazing discoveries that people just like you are making every single day. And if you've ever found an error coin or valuable variety, share your story in the comments below because we love hearing about discoveries from our viewers. Now get out there and start searching because the next $1 million penny could be waiting for you to find it. And when you do, you'll remember this video and realize that we told you it was possible all along. Happy hunting, everyone, and may your searches be filled with incredible discoveries.